Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How is life in your world? I hope everything's good for you. I hope life is great wherever you are. Where I am, it's not bad. Today is a gorgeous West Virginia day. It started off really cold this morning, turned out great. But today, I want to ask you a simple question. And that is, where do you get your news? Now, I'm not talking about like mainstream news outlets, the Foxes and the CBSs and the NBCs. Those are news outlets for sure. But more and more, I've found that Reuters is and the AP are really where the vast majority of the larger news outlets are getting their stories. They're just not relying on journalism anymore, which is depressing. And the reason I'm asking this question is because part of the new content that I want to build, part of the new show or whatever it is that it ends up being, is I want to expand my worldview, and I want to do that through covering, I guess, news, or not necessarily news, but current events. All right, I'm not interested in entertainment news or but stuff that's happening in the world right now. I want to have an open discussion about that sort of thing. And so that's part of the new show. That's part of what just happened means. What did just happen? Because sometimes there are things that you read a headline that just makes you think, what? How did that even occur? And the question is, I want to know if you have any resources that I could look at that will get me those headlines. Where can I find those kinds of stories? Because right now, if I go look at world news, I just see Trump, I see ISIS, I see wildfires and natural disasters, and the world looks like it's falling apart. And I know that there's some generational bias there. Like, I think every generation thinks that it's living in the apocalypse. And there are obviously historical times that the world has become more difficult to live in. And if we're currently living in that, it's hard to really judge until we get beyond this current era to find out, okay, was the early 2010s difficult or the late 2010s difficult? We won't know, right, until much farther down the road. But I'm not interested in the obvious news. Like, I'm not interested in the crap that just spews the airwaves constantly. I'm looking for the more subtle stuff, and I have a few places in mind where I can find bits and pieces, but I want to know if you have places in mind. Where do you turn when you want to find something that isn't just calamity, crisis, and oppression? Because I need help in that front. I'm not going to ask you to help me write stories. I'm not going to ask you to be a journalist for me. I would love it if any of you want to jump on and help me format this new show. That would be amazing. But I'm not asking that right now. Right now, I'm just saying, point me to some sites. Point me to some apps if you have phone apps or tablet apps. That can help me curate kind of more curious news. Well, that's it, curious news. We'll call it curious news. And I think that will really help me better formulate what's going on in my head right now for the new content. So, that's all I have today. Quick show, because I'm going to game night, damn it. I want to go play board games. I'm going to hang out with my friends and hopefully play some fun stuff, and I'll be back here tomorrow with hopefully a somewhat more involved conversation. So thank you for being here. As always, please leave a comment if you have any insight into where I can find not necessarily content, but coverage for the future content on this channel. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from biography.com. Which U.S. state was named by Sir Walter Raleigh after the unmarried Queen Elizabeth I? In 1587, he explored North Carolina to present-day Florida, naming the region Virginia in honor of Elizabeth the Virgin Queen. In 1587, Raleigh sent an ill-fated second expedition of colonists to Roanoke. In 1588, he took part in the victory over the Spanish Armada. So Virginia. And then why is Raleigh in North Carolina?